Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 7th episode of The Greatest Movies Never Made. I'm Ryan Presky here with you again, joined by Adam Spring.
Hello.
And today we're joined by our good friend Luca.
What's up, boys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thanks for being here.
good friend Big Luke's. And we're going to be talking today about Beetlejuice. Don't say it 3 times, say it just once. So this was directed by Tim Burton. And, well, actually, anything... How's your weeks going, boys? Good weeks?
It's good. No work today, so I was just chilling at home.
Well, good thing we met up so late with no work.
Well, I mean, I was busy with other things, like at home. It wasn't just a nothing, play Fortnite all day kind of day.
I thought it was... Also, we don't talk about that game here. I thought we made that clear last episode.
Did we? I don't recall.
Yeah, we started beef with Ninja.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking pussy Ninja. Okay, so everything good with you, Luke's? Good week?
Not much to say, but Thursday's my favorite day of the week, boys, so I'm doing good.
Yeah, so everyone's good here. You know, and we're all just enjoying ourselves. We're joined by a special guest here. Will remain unnamed.
You already said Luca.
Yeah, no, our 4th guest.
Oh.
Okay, so let's jump into it. Beetlejuice, in 1988, directed by Tim Burton. And at this point, his prior credits included a number of short films, including Frankenweenie, which he later made into a full-length film. And Pee-wee's Big Adventure was his first feature-length film.
I feel like you love that movie.
I do love that movie. I love early Tim Burton. Like, we'll talk a little bit more about Tim Burton by himself, but he was killing it in his early years, and now not so much.
Well, I guess not. What's his most recent movie?
Right now, he just released Dumbo. It's in theaters
right
now.
Yeah.
No, not before that. I mean, we talked about Planet of the Apes in 2001.
Which was, that was...
Yeah, I think that's his downfall.
Which, I haven't seen it, but apparently it's just absolutely awful.
Yeah, and then he did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like 2006.
That was a good movie, though. I was a kid when I saw it, but...
That movie's trash, bro. Get that out of here. Compared to the original, it's awful.
Okay, well, if we're comparing it to the original, that's another story.
I guess that's fair. Maybe, what was it? It makes sense to me if it's...
No, I saw the original when I was young. I had no concept of what makes a good movie when I was younger. I didn't even know how old it would have been. I'm not going to do the math right now.
Okay. It was written by Michael McDowell and Warren Scarron, and these are writers that write for Tim Burton a lot, starring Michael Keaton, Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, Catherine O'Hara, Jeffrey Jones, Glenn Shandick, and Winona Ryder. And, I mean, at the time they weren't huge casts, but they're all pretty big now. Jeffrey Jones was big.
Alec Baldwin was quite the dime piece in this movie, I'm not going to lie.
Dude, I have that note written down too. Young Alec Baldwin?
Yeah.
Damn.
Handsome man. Can't deny it.
Yeah.
Who's the wife? What's the
Gina
actress'
Davis.
name?
Her
Gina
too.
Davis.
God damn. I love Gina Davis.
Who's the actor of the tiny-headed man?
I don't know who the tiny-headed man is.
Yeah, I don't think we have that info.
But
he's a good character.
Okay, so should we just talk about the film first? Should we just get into it a little bit?
Let's get into it.
So yeah, like I said, young Alec Baldwin, and Gina Davis. They're like the most sexy couple of the 80s.
They're the what would you call it? Just the picture book couple.
Yeah, I don't love their outfits, but whatever. I get it. I just don't like how they're in it the whole time. And also, the score in this movie is so good.
Yeah, it's great.
Danny Elfman, he scores all of Tim Burton's films except for a few.
Shout out to Danny Elfman for some good music.
I mean, he kills it. It's you don't think about the Beetlejuice score as being iconic, but like once you hear it again, you're like, oh, that.
Yeah, when it was
right
all
away.
going on, it was great.
Yeah,
I'm sure, like the live orchestra in the studio must have been.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how big it would have been, but it sounded like huge sounds. It was all intense. It was awesome, and obviously the scenes with them singing when they're in the dining room.
Well, the soundtrack, yeah, is pretty good too. Yeah, it's a great score and soundtrack.
I was also going to say that suit he has is iconic. The black and white.
There's a lot of really like memorable moments in this movie that just stand out to I think anyone that sees it. Like also that moment where he scares everyone and you don't actually see his face, but it's just, oh, you want to see my scariest face? And it just shows them reacting.
Yeah.
That's a really memorable
Michael Keaton is amazing in this movie.
Yeah, I wrote down another note. This must be literally the best character of all time to play. Beetlejuice. For any actor, I would imagine any actor would love to play Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a fun, funny, such a great character. And Michael Keaton, I mean, I couldn't really imagine anyone else doing it better than him, though, to be honest. He was so perfect at the character.
Yeah, he was great. He also ad-libbed 90% of his lines.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like once I had that note before I watched it, so I could see him just having fun with all of it.
If I were to rewatch that now, I'd keep that in mind, and I feel like I don't know, I think I could actually see that looking back on it, like thinking about some of the lines.
Sometimes it gets pervy, but it matches. It's good
where
for
he's
the
like
character.
grabbing at Barbara.
My one criticism of it would be that I don't think he was in it for long enough. I think his first scene is 45 minutes in.
It's I have that note too. It's 25 minutes in, and he only appears. Yeah, and he only appears for 17.5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, like he's a legend. He's got to be in that for at least an hour of that hour and a half.
But it just shows how great he is in that role. That he's only in it for 17.5 minutes. It's named after him. The movie, everyone thinks about him in it. When you look at the movie by itself, it's not even about Beetlejuice. It's about
it's about the what's
couple,
their last name
the dead
again?
couple.
Something with an M.
I forget right now. Maitland's.
Maitland's, yeah.
And also, they should have survived that crash. That crash was not that horrific, right?
Well, the crash wasn't that bad. You don't know what happened once they fell into the river.
Unless they both just got so knocked out that they were drowned. They should have been easily okay to swim out of a window or something, because that water also looked real shallow.
With water pressure, man, you can't open windows like that.
I don't know.
It's not how it doesn't work. Unless, I mean, if you're submerged, I mean,
I liked how there was a dog that did it, but also that dog's weight could not shift a whole car falling.
Yeah.
But it's fine. That's just me making little points. This is basically, and this is why I love early Tim Burton, because he makes horror movies for families, and that's what this is. It's a family horror movie. Because I remember watching this as a kid, and I loved it.
I was also going to add on to that. I was going to say it seems so much scarier as a kid, and then looking back on it, it's kind of like a dark comedy almost.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a dark comedy
in that realm. When I watched it as a 12-year-old, it seemed like this like horror film almost, and it's cool second time around.
Yeah, and it's actually a cool. It's not. I don't think it's accurate, but it's a cool and fun interpretation of the afterlife. You know, it's like, oh, you're stuck in this house as Ghost, and you could just live normal lives as Ghost, but people can come in and change everything, and you can't really do shit about it.
Yeah, well, we've talked about my previous Ghost experiences, so who knows?
Well,
if
maybe
it's
we'll get back
or
into
not.
that at the end.
Maybe that guy lived there before.
Yeah, maybe.
I haven't heard these. What are these? Was this already on the pod?
We talked about it one episode, yeah. Well, but maybe we'll bring it back up. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll get back into our spooky corner here.
But yeah, no, I thought I really enjoyed that too. Like when they stepped outside, for example, and the first time Alec Baldwin's character Adam steps outside, and from his perspective, he's out there for like 15 seconds, and then Barbara pulls him back in, saying, "Oh, you were out there for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you? Whatever." I found that whole concept really cool.
With the Tremor Monsters, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but they have like these sandworms that are the same. I love it. That's the only effects that didn't look great. The sandworms, I think.
I was fine with it. The giant monster. I was fine with it. If you're looking for a more fun thing, but I mean, if you're actually looking to be scared, I think that CGI is probably better.
It would be a lot scarier if it was the CGI of today, doing those faces and the demons and stuff.
I also like how everyone's death is visualized in they don't say it, but all their deaths look like they committed suicide.
Yeah, their caseworker had her neck was slit.
Yeah,
although I guess that necessarily isn't.
The other one was hung.
Yeah. And then the one with the slit wrists.
Yeah. And that dinner scene is so great with the dance, and I love shrimp, but those shrimp are way too plump.
They look, I mean, they look awful. They don't look like even real shrimp. They look like devil shrimp. Yeah, they look like huge fat fingers, which they turn into. But still, even before they turn into it, I was like, everyone at that table should be so grossed out by the look of these shrimp. That's well, I feel like, who is the guy that is representing Catherine O'Hara's character?
They call, I think his name is Otto, but she always goes
No,
like Otto.
not him though. The guy at the dinner party that when he storms out after.
I'm not sure.
Well, what him? He seems to be like putting on airs, almost like acting as if it's a nice place, acting as if her art is good. I mean, obviously up until the point where he leaves. So maybe that's what it is. They just don't want to offend her because she seems to be some sort of important person in their circle.
Yeah, I guess.
Is Otto that the plump interior designer guy?
Yeah. He's really good too.
Yeah, he keeps funny.
When Gina Davis starts turning into a skeleton, that's the scariest thing of this whole movie. Just the way she looks when she's like decaying
like
away.
Standing when they're in their wedding
near the end
outfits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did not like that one bit.
Yeah, that was a pretty sad scene, honestly.
Yeah, it gets intense. He makes these like weird love stories in a lot of his movies, Tim Burton, and that's kind of what this is, in a lot of ways. I don't know if what Beetlejuice was saying was right or if he was just lying when he says the only way to get out of the afterlife is to get married. Because I was thinking, how would that be the only way, and why would that even work, regardless?
I don't know, but I mean, I guess it is in this world the truth because he was so intent on doing it at the end.
I don't know.
I mean, what other reason did he have for it?
I think he's just
a creep.
No, he's immortal. He's lived 100,000 whatever lives.
Yeah, we got to talk about how he's pretty much marrying a 14-year-old girl to get an afterlife. Like that wouldn't fly these days.
Okay, here's my thought. My thought was when you are immortal, age becomes nothing. And I don't want to get like weird or anything, but like I just mean I don't think an immortal person would fall in love with a child because a child's not fully developed. But I think an immortal person would more likely fall in love with like someone 50 and over than someone 50 and under because they're
pedophile.
More. What's that?
Nothing. I'm just kidding.
Even if it was, yeah, okay, well that's just my thought. I feel like if you were immortal, you'd want to be with someone. The looks don't matter to you as much because you've already lived and seen through all these looks for years and years. You want to find something more true, and I doubt that would come. I don't know. Finding Neverland. Don't. I mean, Leaving Neverland. It really messed me up the past few weeks.
I don't want to.
It's brutal. I would suggest if you are going to watch it, if you want to, listen to Michael Jackson before, because I don't know if I'm going to go back. I don't know if I'm going to go back and listen to him again.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of the daughter, why can she see the Maitlands? Like, out of all the family, why is she the one that can see them?
I think she says at one point it's just like weird can see other weird, and that's kind of another theme of Tim Burton. It's like the eccentric, the weird person is the most special. Like you see that he does that all the time with like Edward Scissorhands, whatever it is, Ed Wood, all these things. I don't know. I think also the character Lydia is in a lot of ways Tim Burton. I feel like that's him portraying himself on screen because that's how he dresses. He like kind of dresses like that if you ever see him in interviews. I think that Beetlejuice's demise, like there's this huge buildup of this wedding at the end. Like they're all trying to stop him and say his name. And then all of a sudden a huge sandworm just comes and takes him out. I didn't like that. I was thinking to myself, because I kind of forgot how he got taken out. I was like, oh my God, how are they going to do this? He's driving the car into this foot. And then all of a sudden a sandworm just comes. I'm like, damn.
I didn't love that Barbara was controlling it, riding it. That's what I didn't like about it. I didn't mind the fact that there's a sandworm though, just because throughout the movie, at least twice, he says something about how he hates them and how they're the worst and whatever. Like at the beginning, he's reading a newspaper, and there's sandworms on the cover. I hate those things.
Yeah. I actually heard that too. Gina Davis on Sandworm. It was just weird.
Yeah, I didn't like that too much.
But then they do kind of redeem it at the end with Beetlejuice when they have the head shrinking bit at the end.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a good scene.
Anything else you guys have on the film? Any other points you thought of?
The football team with the... I just thought this was a little thing that I thought was really funny.
I think that was a reference to some kind of...
something that happened, some accident.
Yeah, like some kind of like plane crash or bus crash. I read something about that. I don't know if it was for the football team or for like a dance group. Like you remember that like blue dance group that was in it at some point? There was some kind of thing where there was an actual reference to a mass plane crash like from the 50s or maybe not whatever.
Oh yeah, I thought I thought that whole thing was funny in the office with the what did they call her? Their death representative. I can't remember. The caseworker.
There was some scary images in this, but a lot of funny stuff that I think this is also, I think, a good way for kids to get introduced to death. Because I feel like this might be the first time for real. Because I remember watching this at a very young age. This movie. This was like one of my early favorite movies, and I didn't really understand, I guess, most of it about that it was all about death. Death is here. Death is a thing, and there's other ways to look at it.
I think we should also, before we get into the second script, talk about like what Beetlejuice is, because in theory, because to me, he just looks like, well, I have my notes here. He's a bioexorcist, but he looks like some sort of booze demon to me.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand why he could be out of jurisdiction. It seems like there's a whole jurisdiction to the afterlife, and he seems to be like a freelance worker, just doing his own thing, and they can't stop him.
Well, the caseworker was saying that was he was her assistant or something like that. Something like that, yeah. And so I don't know. I mean, I guess he since he's, I guess, technically part of that whole organization, he's just.
I was more curious about what that organization was than what Beetlejuice is.
Yeah.
Because I understand Beetlejuice is some kind of demon that's been around for years, like hundreds of years.
Bioexorcist, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's still a demon.
I don't know. I guess you could think of it as like the government of the afterlife.
I guess there's other businesses you could be in besides the government. But I just thought everyone that wasn't in that facility was basically regulated, whatever, stuck to a house or wherever they lived. Okay, so no more notes on the film, I guess, or if anything comes up, we could always bring it up. Yeah. There was an estimated budget of $15 million. Do you want to guess how much it made? This is domestically, so
in the U.S.
U.S. Canada.
200 million.
Do you have a guess, Luke, or no?
I'm gonna go with 75.
It's 74 million. So pretty right on. Yeah, it's 74 million. I rounded it, so I could. It's 75 million. You got it right on, buddy. And a Rotten Tomatoes score of 84%. So
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, it made a lot of money.
Honestly, it's pretty surprising with those results that there wasn't, a second one in the works, and it was put through very quickly, because from my understanding, it seems like it was well
reviewed,
received.
And a huge financial success. I mean, 75 million off of 15, that's huge. We're gonna get into, obviously, because there was a script that came a few years right after. Obviously, the movie didn't come after, and there's a few reasons. They're pretty obvious if you think about it, if you think about everyone involved, but we'll get into it in a bit. So just some notes I had on the film. It won for Best Makeup at the 61st Academy Awards, beating Coming to America and Scrooged. So that one should have won. I mean, the only competition it had is Coming to America, but still, Beetlejuice, that was easy. This is Michael Keaton's favorite film of his own career, which, like I said, I mean, who wouldn't love this character to play? It's just so fun. The original script was a horror film. So in it, Beetlejuice was a winged reptilian demon who transformed into a small Middle Eastern man. Lydia was a minor character. And her sister, Kathy, could be more of the lead. She wasn't in it, and she was able to see the Maitlands. Instead of scaring them away, Beetlejuice's goal was to kill the family. And there was sequences of him mauling Kathy in the form of a squirrel and trying to rape Lydia.
Oh my god.
So a little more intense. A few less laughs, I bet. The squirrel bit's a little funny. The other part, not so much. The last song played at Glenn Shattuck's memorial service was Deo, the Banana Boat song, in 2010. So that was Otto. He passed away in 2010. Beetlejuice was the first DVD sent out on Netflix in 1998.
That's when Netflix started? Like it was
a
thing back then?
What was that?
It was a thing back then?
Back then it was a DVD service.
You would order them from somewhere, I guess. Yeah, but
yeah.
I didn't know it existed back then. Interesting.
There's a red and green skeleton that are identical to the ones in Mars Attack, and two men wearing Ray-Bans and suits, just like the Blues Brothers that you see at one point in the waiting room. Catherine O'Hara met her husband, production designer Bo Welch, on this film. Tim Burton originally wanted Sammy Davis Jr. to play the lead role, so that would have been weird. From the Rat Pack. Okay, that's fine.
It's he's the musician, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the black one from the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
The scene with the fly, where it's flying, I think this is the first time you see Beetlejuice when it flies towards the little model house he builds.
Yeah.
That's a tribute to 1958's The Fly, and Gina Davis starred in the reboot The Fly, which happened 2 years before. So that's cool, I thought.
How is it a tribute?
I haven't actually seen the 1958 one. I've only seen the other one. But I imagine there's a scene where you're following a fly. Kind of like that. There's a shot where you're just following a fly. And in 2000, AFI put it as number 88 on their 100 Years of Laughs list. And it's in between The Jerk at 89 and Fast Times at Ridgemont High at 87.
AFI is what? American Film
Institute. Sometimes they're right. I looked over the list. It looked okay. So after that, let's jump into the unmade film. I don't know if I told you guys. Do any of you have a guess of what it could have been called?
Not Beetlejuice 2? Is that what you're telling me? That's not what it was called?
No, it wasn't called Beetlejuice 2.
Is it something related to the first movie?
I don't know. Maybe think about what was popular in the early 90s for film. I guess it wasn't even popular in the 90s. So I'll just say it. It was called Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
God.
I guess maybe it was
think
popular.
I would hate it.
I think it fits, and we'll get into a little bit why. So, returning would have been Tim Burton to direct. There was roles for everyone except for Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis's character, which is upsetting, but from the script it makes sense. Maybe they would have had a cameo at the very beginning. So in it, the Dietz family moves to Hawaii to develop a resort. I think it's fun too. I'm into it. It's jokes, it's stupid, but it's fun. So the whole Dietz family, like I said, will return, but not Barbara and Adam. Tim thought it would be funny to match the surfing backdrop of a beach with some sort of German expressionism, because they're totally wrong together. That's why I think it would be funny. Just the juxtaposition of the two. That's funny.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
So this is not 100% confirmed, these plot details, but they seemed enough. Whatever. I'm going to say them. Don't take this 100%, but I believe this is what the script would have gone. So they move to Hawaii. They get they buy a resort, right? Lydia is in college at this time. And there's a bunch of protesters that don't like the resort being built. So Lydia eventually falls in love with one of these protesters named Chemo, and he's a surfer dude. And somehow she learns how to manifest her powers to create large waves. So all the surfers love her because she's creating these massive waves to ride out on. Shaka bra, bro.
I'm already so not enthused. Hate it.
I'm into it so far, but the whole waves thing is throwing me for a loop here.
That's the worst part of it all, that she can manifest powers now. And that's why I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but let's just roll with it. And besides that, I think if you take that out, this actually does match what a Beetlejuice movie could be and should be. So the group of protesters kidnap Charles, her dad, and then they eventually get caught and get arrested. So Lydia gets upset. She travels to the netherworld, and she convinces Beetlejuice to frighten off the guests. So Beetlejuice comes back. He frees the prisoners, Chemo and all his friends. And then Lydia is so happy. She's like, okay, Beetlejuice, you could have 3 days to do whatever you want. So we just have a little 3 days of Beetlejuice having fun on the island.
You can bet your ass he's boozing.
He's boozing. He's chilling with girls. There's one scene where Beetlejuice becomes the hero of the island because he wins a surf contest by using magic. That sounds kind of Beetlejuice to me. It sounds sillier than anything we saw in the first one, but I could see Beetlejuice doing that. Right? So eventually Beetlejuice sees Lydia and Chemo together romantically, and he gets upset and he tries to come between them. So he transforms a tree into a woman to seduce Chemo, and he gives Lydia a drug potion. Bill Cosby's her. He poses as a wealthy.
It's a little too close to home in terms of what's going on in today's society.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people transforming trees into things.
Exactly.
Cutting down trees that should be living. And you know what? We need more trees out there. Save the trees. Hashtag save the trees. He poses as a wealthy oil tycoon, and he convinces the Dietz family to allow him to marry Lydia. They agree, and then all of a sudden, Gala appears, who is Beetlejuice's afterlife-like mother. He's not actual mother, and she gives Lydia a drink to reverse the spell. So this gets Beetlejuice all mad, and he turns into Jucifer, a creature that wreaks havoc on the island. He starts creating demonic tiki statues, dinosaurs. What are those things called? Easter Island heads. You know those little things?
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called, but I know what you're talking about.
Those are giants. They come up out of the ground as giants. So basically anything like tropical and Hawaiian that can be turned into a demon, he does. So that's why it could be fun too. Lydia eventually uses her powers to create a wave that destroys the hotel and wipes the creatures off the island.
Yids, you seem a little rattled. What's your opinion so far on this?
I think this is the kind of movie that if I ever saw this now, I would hate myself for having watched it.
Yeah, but you're looking at it in the eyes of now. This would never be made now. In 1992, well, it was written in 1990, so we're going to get into all the changes it went through in a second. Well, okay, I'm just going to... Okay. Yeah, well, I just have one more point of the script, and it's over. So, Otto sends it back, and then Lydia and Chemo reconnect. The island becomes a nature reserve, and Beetlejuice drinks the same love potion and falls in love for the girl in the afterlife. So, there's another funny bit with Beetlejuice in the end. And yeah, okay, so this script went through a lot of different changes. It was first written in 1990, and then there was some rewrites, some shit we'll get into. But I think the best chance this movie had at being made was in 1992. And I'll get into it a little bit when we talk about why it was canceled, but that's why I say 1992. It wasn't officially... It kept going on at past 1992. So, it's okay, we'll talk. In 1991, Burton hired Daniel Waters to rewrite the script, and then eventually, instead, he would sign on to write Tim Burton's Batman Returns. Okay? And then Batman Returns happened. Then in August of 1993, Pamela Norris was hired to do a rewrite, and in 1996, 3 years later, Warner Brothers approached Kevin Smith for a rewrite. But he declined, and instead he wanted to do the failed Superman Lives movie, which ironically also had Tim Burton attached to direct. So that's another one. That's a good one too. We'll get into one day. Nicolas Cage as Superman. And Kevin Smith was quoted, "Didn't we see all we needed to see in the first Beetlejuice? Must we go tropical?"
I agree with that. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, but again, this is fucking 6 years later. Times have changed. In 1990, yeah, we wanted to see Beetlejuice go tropical. I remember Saved by the Bell when they went Hawaii. I loved it. Like season 8, they went Hawaii and it was great. It was actually pretty bad, but I still enjoyed them going for it.
It's like Joey. Do you know Joey? Like from
of
the
course.
Spin-off?
Of course I know Joey.
That reminds me, for some reason, the whole concept reminds me of Joey. It was terrible.
Joey? You mean the show that's a little bit better than Friends? You think Friends is better than Joey?
Oh, like, don't even start.
You'd rather focus on 6 people than 1? Are you kidding? Are you serious or are you joking?
No, I'm fucking with you.
Okay, good. So we all agree. Joey's better. In March 1997, Gems, the writer, stated, "The Beetlejuice Goes Hawaii script is owned by the Geffen Film Company, and it will likely never get made. You really couldn't do it nowadays anyways. Winona is too old for the role, and the only way they can make it work would be to totally recast it." Which I disagree with a lot of that. Obviously, he was right about the Geffen Film Company, except the film company would shut down a year later. And then all of its properties are now owned by Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers owns Beetlejuice still. But, I mean, Winona's not too old for it. She wasn't too old for it in 1996. She could come back now and kill it. And I agree that Michael Keaton is amazing. I love Michael Keaton so much. But this movie could be made without Michael Keaton.
Is it going to be in the new one, I'm assuming?
No, we're not there yet, but I'm just saying it could.
I think that's a little crazy. Who do you think would replace him?
I would rather see a sequel than anything else, but this is a franchise that can be rebooted really easily, right? Because it's such a big character. It's such a big world he created of this nether world, this afterlife. It could be rebooted. I don't want to see it, but it could. Is all I'm saying.
I think Michael Keaton is the perfect Beetlejuice. I honestly I don't know how they could replace him. I also think in the new one, whenever it comes out, and whenever we do talk about it, I'm unaware of what the situation is. Since he's wearing all the makeup and all that stuff, I feel like they could completely recast him. They could completely cast him again, and no one would.
Yeah.
Have
well, no one would see that he's like older.
Yeah, because he's all that makeup, and he still looks like the same person. So like, it's fine. I think
he's always had the same hairline his whole career. In September of 2011, so now it's been some years, right? September 2011, it's been a while. Warner Brothers hires Seth Grant-Smith to write and produce a sequel, and he was quoted, "It's not just about forcing a remake or a reboot down someone's throat." And he and Keaton met in 2012, and he said, "We talked for a couple of hours, and we talked about big picture stuff. It's a priority for Warner Brothers. It's a priority for Tim. Michael's been wanting to do this for 20 years, and he'll talk to anybody that will listen." So obviously it wasn't too much of a priority. 2011, we haven't seen it yet. But the story we know was set in a real time frame from 1988, from the original. So at that point, 26 years later. So we would have seen everyone grown up, all this. He said, "What's great is that for Beetlejuice, time means nothing in the afterlife, but that the world outside is a different story."
Sorry, why were they stuck on such a long time frame post? Like, why 26 years? They could maybe cut it down to 7 or...
No, they just wanted it to be real time from when the sequel comes out to the original. So they're saying like Winona Ryder has aged.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
In October 2013, the script was finalized, and Burton is looking to return, hoping to film both this and Miss Peregrine's Home for the Peculiar Children at the same time. Obviously, he focused on Miss Peregrine's, so that came out. In November of 2013, Winona Ryder says there's a possible return for the sequel. She was quoted, I'm kind of sworn to secrecy, but it might be happening. It's 27 years later, and I have to say, I love Lydia Dietz so much. She was such a huge part of me. I would be really interested in what she was doing 27 years later. However, she and Keaton were only interested if Burton came back. In February of 2014, Burton said, "It's a character that I love and I miss actually working with Michael. There's only one Beetlejuice. We're working on a script, and I think it's probably closer than ever, and I'd love to work with him again."
So I was right.
Well, you're right about some people's opinion. Tim Burton thinks that. Okay? But just wait.
I meant right about...
I want you to hold that thought. Because I have my own thought. In January of 2015, Graham Smith told Entertainment Weekly that the script was finished and they intended on filming later that year. Obviously, that didn't happen. And Winona Ryder in August of 2015 confirms her involvement. So it's weird. All these people are involved, right? Cancelled. Any guess? There's a few things. Nothing confirmed. All conjecture in my mind. Well, I'm putting these conclusions together from all my research.
Okay.
So everyone who really wanted a sequel because it was such a huge success. His second film, everyone critically, financially, huge success, right? And then what was his next film right after Beetlejuice? Batman, right? Batman, way bigger success, way bigger character, already so known. So they wanted to push Batman ahead. That's why I think 1992 would have been the only opportunity for this movie to actually be made, because it would have came out before Batman, but he focused all of his time on Batman.
That's fair. It also kind of sounds like there's too many cooks in the kitchen type situation. Like, it's
not too many cooks in the kitchen.
Tim could have just gone ahead and got this thing done if he really wanted to, because at the end of the day, it's his voice over others to a certain extent. Like, and I mean, obviously MK's schedule has something to do with it as well, but it seemed that like MK was pretty open to doing the thing, and if him and Tim kind of vetoed and got it done, I think it could have been doable.
Well, yeah, that's one thing. Burton's own passion projects and his own other commitments. Same with Michael Keaton's. And that's because, like I'm saying, seemingly there was no one of the cast that was willing to work with another cast member as Beetlejuice or another director, right? So this movie could have been made in 1992 if Tim Burton didn't do it, you know? And Beetlejuice, or it could have been made in 2000 if Michael Keaton wasn't in it.
Hmm.
This movie could have been made if people were like, okay, Michael Keaton doesn't have to come back. Tim Burton doesn't have to come back. Winona Ryder doesn't have to come back. Let's see a whole different story. I'm just saying it could have been made.
Wouldn't be into. I feel like a lot of people, including myself, just wouldn't be into that idea.
Yeah, I get it. I would prefer to see Michael Keaton back. You know what? I don't care if Tim Burton. I could see someone else do it just because Tim Burton hasn't done it for me recently.
Yeah, I think Michael Keaton is the big one.
Yeah, but like, that's what I mean. There's so much makeup on him. It is possible to recast. I don't know. That's just
I
me.
guess so.
You got any names on the list there of potentials in place of MK?
No, not that I thought of. I mean, I'm going to get into the future of Beetlejuice right now, and one of the future is Beetlejuice the stage musical, and they've cast someone else to star in it, right? I mean, it's the Broadway musical. It's not a film, but still,
Well, that's a bit different.
Well, still, it's like other people can be this character,
Yeah,
and play it well.
Yeah.
I bet if you saw this Broadway, you wouldn't be like, "Oh, that guy sucked. He wasn't Michael Keaton."
What about Jim Carrey?
Yeah, someone like that could be good. But if you're gonna get Jim Carrey, you might as well get Keaton. If you're not gonna go younger, get Keaton back, right? If you're not gonna get like a 20-year-old that could be in it for franchise potential.
I don't know any young actors like that.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, she could be
Be into that.
she could be Beetlejuice.
Yeah, you could do a lady too.
She's like 12.
She's older now. She was 12 season 1 of Stranger Things, bro. She's got to be like 16.
Okay, she's like
those
14
guys
at
are old
most.
now, man. They got to come out with a new season, otherwise they're going to be going through some real strange things.
She's 15.
If you want to see something creepy, look into her and Drake's relationship. Ooh,
I don't even want to know about it.
it's weird. It's not that weird. It's strange. It is strange. So the stage musical opens officially on April 25th, 2019 at the Winter Garden Theater on Broadway. So that's real soon. It could actually match up with our release. Who knows? And then now let's talk about Beetlejuice 2. So it seems like they went away from Beetlejuice Goes Hawaii. They kept Seth Grahame-Smith's script. And in 2017, Mike Vukadinovic was hired to rewrite the script. So we're going off what we know so far from the 2011 script. So that seems like it's still in development. Burton and Keaton are still interested in returning. They're excited to get back to working together. They just did Dumbo together. Keaton starred in it.
On Tim Burton's IMDb, I'm pretty sure it says Beetlejuice.
It does. That's what I mean. This movie, filming hasn't begun, production hasn't begun, but it's in development. What they call in development. I don't know how far along it is. There's no date on it. It could be next year. Could be what we've seen. It could fall back into hell and not get made.
Right.
Right? Let's hope it gets made because I'm excited. So we could assume. Let's assume the whole cast comes back except for Otto, obviously. But I would assume. Well, actually, Jeffrey Jones. I looked it up. It looks like he retired. He hasn't acted in a year, so it looks like he might be retired. So maybe Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like Catherine O'Hara a lot. She's funny.
She's hilarious.
Yeah.
She didn't really have too many funny moments in this. Her character was funny in comparison to the husband and the daughter.
I mean, I've watched a few episodes of Schitt's Creek also, for example. I think she's hilarious in that. I just always find her funny in general.
Yeah.
She's a good actress.
She's so good in Best in Show. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I haven't.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh yeah, sorry, I did see. That was the
dog show.
Yeah, that was hilarious. You showed that to me. Who directed that? Who did that?
Christopher Guest.
Right. Yeah.
He's really funny. He does the best mockumentaries.
It was hilarious.
Chloe Grace Moretz was attached or rumored to play Lydia's daughter at some point.
Who's that?
That is Chloe Grace Moretz. She was. Have you ever seen Kick-Ass? She was the hit girl. She was the young girl at the time. She's been in a lot of stuff now. She's older. Yeah. Ava Green was also rumored to star in it at one point, and she has a history working with Tim Burton, so makes sense. She has a total Tim Burton aesthetic to her, where he likes those pale, dark-haired kind of people.
Yeah, when in Beetlejuice, the 1988, right? Yeah. Why can't I think of her name now?
Winona Ryder?
Winona Ryder. When you first see her, she's just like so creepy and weird looking.
Well, don't say weird looking.
Not like her physical appearance, just like the way she's dressed and like, I don't know.
I totally agree. And in my notes, I have she looks like she sleeps on Yosh time. Like she's like goes to sleep at 6, wakes up at 3. Yeah, she looks very, very dark and ghostly.
Yeah, but that's Tim Burton's aesthetic. He is a very auteur director. There's not a lot of them. He is definitely an auteur director where there's a certain feel to all his movies, and that certain feel is a gothic feel. You know, where it's dark, people are dressing in black, very, very gothic, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the whole all of Catherine O'Hara's art kind of almost for some reason I get that vibe from all of her sculptures.
The whole house, it's like a black weird house.
Yeah.
Like who paints their house that color? No one. It's like gray salt.
It's stone. Everything was like stone.
Yeah. And even when it's bright, it's like a fake bright. You know, like when they're driving through the town, it's like everything looks fake and too cheerful. So let's jump into it a little bit. Tim Burton's Rotten Tomatoes. We could see what's the highest, what's the lowest.
I think I could guess the lowest probably.
I don't know if you want to pull it up to see the selection. All right, so what? Do you want to start with lowest? What do you think the lowest is?
Well, my guess would have just been the Planet of the Apes. I'm actually thinking maybe it wouldn't. It isn't.
Why? Because I asked so...
just because of the way you're asking. Yeah, I'm playing this based on you, not Tim Burton.
All right, well, I mean, there's a clock ticking, so you got.
Well, yeah,
you're going with that one?
I'll just go with that.
Luke, do you have a guess? Lowest rated. Okay. It's all right. Yeah, I was asking if you want to guess. His lowest rated is not Planet of the Apes. It is Dark Shadows, one of his more recent films.
Never even heard of it.
I saw it.
Never even heard of it.
It's bad. It's not good. And his highest rated? Any guess?
One of the Batman movies, probably.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Well, it is. It is a Nightmare Before Christmas, but technically Tim Burton didn't direct A Nightmare Before Christmas. So I had that one written down, and then I looked into it more, and I was like, oh yeah, he didn't direct it. Everyone thinks he directed it, but he actually was committed with Batman Forever at the time. So Henry Selick took over, and he directed it, and he just produced and wrote it. So his highest rating film is Ed Wood, 92%. Sorry, did I say what Dark Shadows was? 36%.
Oh wow, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, but he has an average rating of 77%. So he's up there.
All right. What would you call that? Average?
No, that's good. So anything above 60 is good, right? It depends on how you look at it. I don't know. But I will also say when I was looking at the Rotten Tomatoes, there's some weird scores in there. Like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is 70-something%. Planet of the Apes is 50-something%.
50-something is pretty bad, I think. It sounds pretty bad.
Based on what I'm seeing here, they seem like the harshest critics of movies out of the three, like the IMDb and is it Metacritic?
Yeah.
They seem like they're pretty tough on movies compared to the two others.
Yeah, for sure. He was nominated for Best Animated Feature in 2006 and 2013 with Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie. Never been nominated for a live action film.
Frankenweenie. I don't think I've heard of that one.
He does stop motion animated films, which I do like a lot, but I haven't seen Frankenweenie. I've seen Corpse Bride. Beetlejuice, he transforms into this like carnival like creature, right? Remember, is this merry-go-round like creature?
Oh yeah.
And right when he's coming up from the ground, you see a skeleton on the top of it, and that skeleton is actually Jack Skeleton. It's the same face from A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh.
So he
I would
showed that
never have
character.
caught that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't catch it. I saw this fact, and then when I rewatched it, I actually saw it. It's very quick. He was voted the 49th greatest director of all time by Entertainment Weekly.
Tim Burton was?
This was in 1996. So this was a while ago that they made that list and named him that. But still, good for you, 1996. I don't think he might be still in the top 50. Living, I don't know. I guess probably living.
Maybe. I don't know. I've
There's no list that you could
no
bet.
knowledge to that.
Yeah. Well, we could make our own list one day. Like I said, he was hired as the director of the failed Superman Lives film. He's got a bunch of projects that fell through. We could do a whole Tim Burton month. And he's 8 films with Johnny Depp. Edward Scissorhands, Ed Wood, Sleepy Hollow, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd, Alice in Wonderland, and Dark Shadow.
Was Alice in Wonderland good? I never saw the remake.
Yeah, I can't watch that stuff. I couldn't watch it.
No.
It wasn't for me. I like some of these Disney reboots, but not the Alice in Wonderland ones.
What about Sweeney Todd? I always wanted to see that when I was younger and never watched it.
I haven't seen it either, but when there's some outliers of me saying he hasn't been good for some years. Like Sweeney Todd was nominated for the Oscar. I'm pretty sure Johnny Depp was. There's some movies he makes that are good. Big Fish he made 10, 15 years ago.
I loved that movie.
Yeah, it's just a lot of his bigger movies now I don't know, his Disney movies aren't good, I don't think. I haven't seen Dumbo. I haven't heard great things.
Is it even out? I thought it was still not released yet.
I think it's out. It came out this weekend. If not, I'm just hearing from people that saw previews. He's done 7 movies with Helena Bonham Carter and 6 with Christopher Lee. So he picks his actors and he works with them a lot. He worked on a Vincent Price documentary. However, after his death in 1993, he shelved the project and never completed it. So we're never going to see that. Or maybe we will one day, but for a while we won't.
Yeah, sorry, it's a little late here, but out of the top 100 directors working in Hollywood today, Tim Burton's not even in the top 57, which I've been able to sort through now. So
yeah, well, I looked at
something.
I looked at some of those things too. It's like, what is whose list is that? All that stuff. But that's why it shocked me to hear he was in the top 50. So I had to do more research on when was he in the top 50, and I found 1996. Because there's so many great directors now. So many directors that were probably young then that now have made a career for themselves. He began a relationship with Helena Bonham Carter after meeting on the set of Planet of the Apes, and the two have 2 children together. They are not together. They live in 2 separate houses that are joined by a long hallway.
So are they still married?
They're not married. No, they're not.
Yeah, okay.
But it's interesting. They're just so rich. They have these mansions that have a massive adjoining hallway. It's weird, but
very weird.
I mean, if you have the money, why not, right?
I guess.
They have kids. Maybe it's about the kids. I don't know.
That's what it has got to be.
It seems like they have a very close relationship too. She's still in all of his movies and all that. Spielberg at one point considered him to direct Gremlins, which would have been a great fit, I think. But eventually he got nervous and decided against giving him the opportunity since it would have been his first directorial debut. And that's some of my facts on Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
He's an interesting guy. Maybe this Beetlejuice 2, if it came out. If it did, for sure, I'd go see it. I'm not going to go see Dumbo.
I would definitely see Beetlejuice 2. I'm not going to see Dumbo either. But, I mean, if I heard really good things about it, maybe I'd watch it.
If I hear good things about it, I'll watch it when it's on streaming somewhere. But even then, I might not. You know, oh my God, people aren't gonna like this, but everyone loves Bohemian Rhapsody. They're talking about how good it is. All this. Some people aren't loving it. Got nominated for all these Oscars. I had the opportunity. Then I was like, I don't even care. I don't even want to see this. You know. And it's weird because I love Queen, but I just don't even want to see it.
Everyone that does see it says it's amazing, but yeah, I've had no inclination to go and watch it.
Yeah, there's just movies like that where it's just like, I don't care. My brother's huge into Oscars. He's like, oh, how many Oscars movies have you seen? I'm like, I've saw all the ones I wanted to see. I'm not going to force myself to watch ones I don't. He's like, you haven't seen A Star is Born yet? I'm like, no.
I don't care.
I don't want to see
it. I don't care,
it.
yeah.
You should. It's really good.
Maybe I will eventually.
I was also gonna add that he seems to have a little crush on Johnny Depp here. He's in quite a few of the.
Well, I said 8
his
movies.
films. Yeah, 8 movies. Sorry about that. Yeah,
I mean, I said it. I tweeted it after I watched the Oscars. I said, I haven't seen A Star Is Born yet, but after watching that Oscar duet, I'm all in on Bradley Cooper putting a baby in Lady Gaga.
Well, yeah, I'm a big Bradley Cooper fan, so maybe I would like that one. But I still agree with your previous point.
I just want them to just drop a sex tape. Just give me like a 20-minute video. Why make me sit for 3 hours? All I want to see is the full penetration, anyways. Right? I don't need to see him singing. It's like, fuck you. What? You're good at singing now too?
Yeah, he's just good at everything, and he's beautiful.
Yeah. He's got great hair too.
Great hair.
Honestly, these celebrities with good hair piss me off so much. I wish they all were just like John Travolta with these terrible wigs. But they're not. All right, let's move on to... Like I said, I think this movie most likely had the best chance of coming out in 1992. So let's talk about the year of film in 1992. The top grossing films of the year. Number 1, Aladdin at $504 million. Number 2,
Love that
and we're
movie.
getting that remake soon. I don't know if you saw the trailer for it.
No? Oh, yeah, with Will Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I've seen is pretty much how much a meme Will Smith has become over the last couple of months.
Oh, he got ripped apart the first trailer, but they just dropped the second one like 2 days ago, and it's way better. He looks better, and that's the thing people don't realize a lot of times. These are trailers, right? The movie's not finished yet, so a lot of these effects aren't 100%
Yeah,
done.
I think people were just upset, like just comparing the
To
genie
Robin
that
Williams.
we all knew.
Yeah, and I get that too. People are always going to do that, and it's hard when it's such an iconic character like that. My choice for the role was going to be Eddie Murphy. I was like, Eddie Murphy 100% can be the
I haven't
genie.
seen Eddie Murphy in anything in so long. I would love to have seen him.
He would have been great as the genie. He's so good with voices, with his characters like Donkey. What's the one from Mulan? Mushu, you know?
I'm like embarrassed to say I've never seen Mulan.
Oh, man.
I've seen like all the Disney classics, but not that one.
It'll make a man out of you. You watch it. Okay, so number 2, The Bodyguard at $411 million. Number 3, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York at $359 million.
Another classic.
Yeah. Number 4, Basic Instinct, $353 million. Number 5, Lethal Weapon 3 at $322 million. And 6 through 10 were Batman Returns, so Tim Burton made it. A Few Good Men, Sister Act, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Wayne's World. So some pretty I guess a pretty good year for the top 10. I like, now I'm looking at it over. There's a lot of original films, which I like, but there's also a lot of sequels, which, that's just how it is now. If you look at the top 10 films of the past, like 5-10 years, it's all sequels and reboots.
It's like, I'm assuming Marvel's in there a bunch of times.
Marvel, Disney, and Disney's always in it. You see, like, Disney back in 1992, Aladdin is number 1. Some other notable films of the year: Juice, My Cousin Vinny, White Man Can't Jump, Beethoven, Patriot Games,
Beethoven,
A League of Their
that's
Own.
the one with the dog, right?
Yeah.
I loved that movie.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Death Becomes Her, The Last of the Mohicans, Glengarry Glen Ross.
I didn't know they made Buffy movies.
Yeah, they started with a Buffy movie.
Before the show?
Yeah.
Oh, was it the
I'm
same
pretty sure.
actress?
No, different actress. The Mighty Ducks, Under Siege, Candyman, Reservoir Dogs, and Malcolm X.
A few good ones in there.
Some big ones. There's Unforgiven was also released. It wins for Best Picture at the Oscars that year, and Al Pacino wins for Scent of a Woman, and Emma Thompson for Howard's End. I'm surprised Wayne's World made the top 10. That's what shocks me the most.
Well,
SNL was just huge.
Mike Myers was like, he was the king at that point, I think.
Well, we'll jump into this first. So some debuts of the year. Mike Myers, that was his first major motion picture.
That was his first thing?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's what I got.
So I guess maybe it was after that he became the king.
Well, I mean, Wayne's World was a character created on SNL.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have been, so big on SNL that it just translated.
Yeah.
Which was probably the case. Some other debuts: Gillian Anderson, Jack Black, Daniel Craig, Aaron Eckhart. There's so many I couldn't write down the films.
They all debuted in '92.
Yeah, Ray Fiennes, Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Katherine Heigl, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Lucy Liu, like Mike Myers, Gary Sinise, Will Smith, Hilary Swank, and Toni Collette.
What did Will Smith debut in?
I had a lot of them written down, but there was just so many, and I also had to leave some people out because there's so many.
It wasn't Fresh Prince, though? That wasn't his first.
I'm talking about films. Some of these people might have been in TV shows before.
Right. Yeah.
And for directorial debuts, there was Ang Lee with Pushing Hands, Baz Luhrmann with Strictly Ballroom, Robert Rodriguez with El Mariachi, M. Night Shyamalan with...
Why do you look at me like that after you say it?
M. Night Shyamalan with Praying with Anger, and Quentin Tarantino with Reservoir Dogs.
That was his first movie, eh?
Yeah.
Quentin.
He had a short that no one really counted. It might have been a full
I feel like
length.
maybe I've seen that short.
It's called like My Dinner Party, something like that.
Aren't there like a bunch? Well, I don't know. I feel like I've seen one where they are all in a hotel room or something like that, and someone like chops their finger off or something like. Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
Sounds like you might be describing Reservoir Dogs.
Am I? Might be a scene from Reservoir Dogs.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen the first one he did.
I feel like it's a short that I'm thinking of, though.
Could be. It's called like My Birthday Party. I don't know. So some births of the year: Logan Lerman from the Percy Jackson franchise, Taylor Lautner, Twilight, John Boyega and Daisy Ridley, both from Star Wars, Rey and Finn, Freddie Highmore from Bates Motel, Josh Hutcherson from Hunger Games, Ezra Miller from Justice League, and Selena Gomez, Demi Lovato, Nick Jonas, and Miley Cyrus, all born that year. Yeah, big year for, also Cole and Dylan Sprouse, so big year for young ladies maturing.
You know, one of them, though, the Sprouse brothers, owns like a brewery or something now. They're a brewer.
Well, it's got to be Dylan, because Cole's killing it on Riverdale.
Okay, yeah, I guess it's Dylan then. No, yeah. I don't know that, actually. I think it might be... I can't remember. I don't know. One of them owns a brewery, though, or something like that.
Don't tell me Cole owns a brewery, too.
Right, well, I think
you can't be a talented actress dating Lily Reinhart and have a brewery. That's not fair.
We'll find out in a minute, but I'm pretty... I think it might be him.
They're not going to... Google's going to be like, I don't know which one's which. That's all Google's going to tell you if you search it.
Yeah, I think it is Dylan.
That's what I said. Yeah. Dylan
Sprouse, master brewer.
More like master baiter. Okay, so some deaths of the year. Sandra Dennis from Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Benny Hill, Anthony Perkins from Psycho, Chuck Connors from Soylent Green, Robert Reed from The Brady Bunch, and Sam Kinison, who is a comedian. Some TV debuts of the year. Dateline NBC, the first time it ever aired. Still on the air, still killing it. Barney and Friends, The Real World, Melrose Place, Batman the Animated Series, X-Men the Animated Series, and Mad About You.
I don't know a bunch of those.
Well, I mean, I haven't actually seen Batman the Animated Series, all of it. I've seen episodes, and people say how that's like the best animated series out there. But I fucking love X-Men the Animated Series.
Well, I never watched any of those.
I didn't watch it growing up.
What was the other one you said? Mad About You? I've never even heard of that.
It's a sitcom. I watched X-Men when it was on Netflix. It came on Netflix. It's off now. But that's the best like fall asleep show. Because the storylines are really good. Like, I already know all the characters just because I watch all the movies. So it was awesome. I liked it. And it was also the creation of Cartoon Network in 1992.
My bread and butter as a child.
Yeah. I hope they're doing well. Sometimes you ever just think about Cartoon Network and be like, I hope they're okay with this new digital age.
Remember Carlos? He was Cartoon Network, right? No, that was
Carlos?
YTV or something.
Oh, yeah, I remember Carlos from YTV.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone except for the Canadian people that are in Toronto might understand who Carlos is, because I'm pretty sure it was local. No, what? It couldn't have been
I don't
local.
know.
Carlos. What was his partner's name?
There was a girl at one point named
That
Sugar
got pregnant,
or
and they
something.
just like, get out of here.
I didn't know that happened. I think
That's
was
what
that
happened.
Sugar?
Sugar and Carlos.
YTV's Sugar and Carlos interview. Yeah.
They're making a movie
Sugar.
about them?
No, I think it's just a little YouTube bit of them just doing an interview on the Zone.
The Adventures of Sugar and Carlos. I'd watch that movie.
I remember them both very, very clearly.
That's Dora the Explorer's diabetic cousin.
Sugar?
The Adventures of Sugar and Carlos. All right, so some of the biggest events of the year, stepping away from the entertainment world. It was a pretty upsetting year in 1992. Jeffrey Dahmer pleads guilty but insane. John Gotti, he's arrested and put in prison. Mike Tyson goes on trial for rape, and he's found guilty. A jury acquits LA police officers of beating Rodney King. Riots begin. Sinead O'Connor rips up a picture of Pope John Paul II on SNL. So those are some of
Is that
the...
a big deal?
Oh, for Sinead O'Connor it was. You know who Sinead O'Connor is?
Yeah. I mean, I know the name. I don't really know anything about them.
Exactly, because she ripped up a picture of Pope John Paul II on SNL in 1992.
Oh.
Her career kind of went away after that.
Yeah, I heard she's going through some dark times, or she's been going through some dark times.
Yeah, it's been a 28-year-long ride, it seems like.
Yeah, no kidding. She does the intro songs for when Conor McGregor comes in to fight his UFC fights.
Personalized or like her
like
old
one
song?
One of her tracks.
Oh,
is
okay.
what he uses. That's why she's kind of gotten a little bit of a surge. But apparently she, a lot like Tyson Fury, going through some mental health stuff.
I haven't heard of. I've seen videos of Tyson on all these podcasts now and all this shit, but I haven't watched them. Is he going through something? He's always been through something.
He has always been in something. But about 2 years ago, he was into the booze and the white and got up to like almost 400 pounds and. Now he's like finding his way, boxing again. But yeah, he was
boxing again.
Yeah, he's a boxer.
I know who Mike Tyson is, but I mean he's like
Tyson Fury.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Mike Tyson. I don't know.
I was saying like, well, because Tyson Fury reached out to Sinead O'Connor and there's this whole thing between them. And anyway, yeah. Never
I thought you were
mind.
talking about Mike Tyson getting back in the ring. I was like, damn.
He still could. Have you seen videos of him recently?
He could still fuck someone up. Got in a ring, he could die. I think someone could kill him.
Yeah, he's too zen now. He smokes a boatload of kush these days. He's chilling.
Not even that though. Also, if you're that old, come on. Even if you were a professional fighter, if you go against a professional fighter that's 20 years younger than you, they're gonna rip you apart. They must. So to brighten up a bit of some news of the year, Tiger Woods at 16 becomes the youngest PGA golfer in 35 years. I think that was his first PGA tour. So, I mean, that's Beetlejuice. That's the year of 1992. Would Beetlejuice 2 have made the top 10 that year? Yeah.
No.
Yes, it would have. Absolutely. It would have knocked off Wayne's World.
No.
Yeah.
I refuse.
Especially with the success of Batman coming out the same year with Michael Keaton and Tim Burton. If that happened somehow, he was able to do both the same year. Yeah, they would have loved it. And that also would have been crazy. A director star in two different movies, both topping the top 10 that year. There's no way that's ever been done.
It wouldn't have been done that year anyways.
Yes, it would have. You don't. Oh, because you think the script was so bad.
Yes.
Well, look at a movie like Wayne's World. Wayne's World is super goofy, right? It's a goofy movie. There's plot holes. There's things that are like, okay, that's funny, but it's not real. And it's the same thing that would have been with Beetlejuice.
Yeah, but the thing is, when it's a sequel, it's just not as enjoyable almost because I feel like it's ruining the first one.
Well, let's look at Wayne's World 2. One of the only good comedy sequels out there. It's actually a pretty good comedy sequel.
Yeah.
It's still silly and all this. Whatever. All right, so that was Beetlejuice. No one else anything to say?
Interesting, quick, interesting little fact. Pretty sure it's a fact. There's someone on Howard Stern's show called Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, we didn't even touch on Beetlejuice. Yeah.
Yeah.
What rap group was he in?
Rap group? I didn't even know he was in a rap group.
Yeah, he was a rapper. He was Does it say what rap group he was in?
I just remember the way that Howard discovered him was he's a little person basically. So on Howard Stern's show always has these weird competitions or whatever. And so one time he had a dwarf throwing competition on his show, and he was one of the dwarves that would be thrown. It was like I don't remember how long ago this was.
He seems way too famous to be thrown.
He wasn't famous at the time. He was totally unknown.
Did you look up if he's a rapper?
As far as I'm aware.
What group is he in? Does it say or no?
No, it doesn't say here. But
maybe it's just
by the looks of him, I think we found who played the tiny-headed man in Beetlejuice. Holy shit!
Lax.
Okay, so that I'm pretty sure is why they call him Beetlejuice.
Who? The character Beetlejuice?
No, that's why they call this guy Beetlejuice from Howard Stern's show. Is they just like he just looks so much like that random guy in the movie.
Or when Beetlejuice gets his head shrunk at the end.
Yeah, he looks like that guy.
Yeah, I remember this guy Beetlejuice from Scary Movie 2. He was in Scary Movie 2.
Was he? I don't even remember.
There's the one scene where they cut open one of the Wayans brothers' heads. I forget which one. He cuts open one of the Wayans brothers' heads, and inside the Wayans brothers' heads, he's like all doped up and high, and you just see Beetlejuice going like, he's like laughing his laugh. Because I remember that. I thought he was like a huge rapper. Okay, well, we found a little clip that we'll see how it works. But this is Beetlejuice talking. Again, don't say his name 3 times or he will come.
A couple of people want to speak to you, of course. When you're here, everybody loves it. Ross, go ahead.
No problem.
Okay.
Hey now, Howard. Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey, yo, I'm gonna prove that Beat is black. He keeps saying he's Puerto Rican.
Yeah, I know Puerto Rican, you little
Yo,
piece
if
of
you're
shit.
Puerto Rican, Beat, let me hear you talk Spanish.
Yeah, I'll speak Spanish, you little fucking little cocksucker.
Fuck you, man.
What do you got, you little fucking little cocksucker?
I'm right here in Brooklyn. Let me
Yeah, fuck you, you little piece of shit.
You ain't Spanish, man.
Yeah, I'll speak
Hey,
Spanish.
Pete, you know.
You fucking cocksucker. Yeah, fuck you piece of
Hey,
shit.
Pete, yell at him in Spanish. Yell at him.
Yeah, you motherfucker, you motherfucker. You piece of garbage.
Beetle knows a lot of.
All right, so that's a little bit of Beetlejuice. He's a smart
funny guy.
He's a funny guy. Sometimes Howard Stern, I don't like how he treats people.
Listen, if it wasn't for him, he would have had no success in his life, most likely. But now he has plenty of money. He has fame. He's been given lots of opportunity.
Yeah, I guess.
I find that's the case with a lot of radio show hosts. Like, you either love them or you hate them.
Yeah.
And there's like no real in between. For example,
Well, I'm kind of in between with Howard Stern. I love him like most of the times, but sometimes I'm just like, come on.
yeah, I feel, but like you love him, right? Like he's that seems to be the consensus.
I think he usually does change with the times. Like that was probably
yeah,
like
I'm a
2000.
big Howard fan. He's gotten a lot more politically correct in his
Yeah.
older age. There were characters, I shouldn't say characters. There were people in the Whack Pack, is what it's called, on his show. One of them was Gary the Retard and Wendy the Retard, but now it's Gary the Conqueror and Wendy the Slow Adult, just for the purposes of not being so offensive.
The first one was Jerry the Conqueror?
Gary the Retard changed to Gary the Conqueror, and then Wendy the Retard changed to Wendy the Slow Adult.
Okay. That's a little funny. Just the name
pretty
switch
funny.
is funny. That one's the Conqueror, such like a strong name. The other one's just the...
He treats them very well. He's not actually...
No, that's the thing. He doesn't treat these people badly. Like when he has these like, I don't know, sometimes he just is... He's like, oh, this is old Howard that I'm talking about, so what's the point? So yeah, this was a good episode. Good Beetlejuice talk. If you have any comments, any concerns, as always, you could email us at thegreatestmoviesnevermade@gmail.com. You could follow us on Never Made Movies for any updates.
That's Twitter, by the way.
That's Twitter. If you want some hilarious laughs, follow me on Instagram at RyanPresky1, PRUSSKY1. That's what you should do. I'm also on Instagram. Just search our names if you want to find us. Adam, anywhere you are?
No, I'm just on Twitch.
Twitch? Well, what's your Twitch?
Twitch.tv/dem, DEM_bees, BZ.
Dem bees. Figure it out at home yourself, boys. Luke's, anything you got, or?
No, I just want to say thanks for having me, boys. This is very fun.
Yeah, well, if you had a good time, maybe we'll get you back sometime soon. And from everyone here, we love you guys. Oh, this is what I want to do. I wanted to give you guys, every time I send you away, I wanted to give you a piece of advice from me. And you know what? We could say it's not only from me, it's a representing of all of us here at The Greatest Movies Never Made and the brand itself. So this week, my point to take home is that I think you should always look before you stick it in. Thank you so much. Love you guys. See ya.
Have a good one.